Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're starting with the first art tutorial, and as the title suggests, how to draw. I wanted to divide it into two different episodes because I wanted it to be a little more easier to understand. So first we're going to start with the basic facial features, the eyes, nose and lips, and in the next video I'm going to show you guys how to place these into portraits, little things and characteristics that define the genders of the individual. So without any further ado, let's go. Alright guys, so I'm using my Faber-Castell pencil blending stump. You can also use the Apsara pencils. These two are really good and affordable graphite pencils for sketching and for beginners. Now I want to share these two tips with you guys: drawing lines and overlaying them. Make hashes, and as you go you can vary the pencil pressure as well. So this technique is used a lot and it helps to soften out your drawing technique. Next thing is making circles and practicing shapes. Draw circles or boxes or even cones and shade them in. This technique helps you understand the light and shadow concepts for anything that you do. So just shade them in, set your light and dark points, and understand where the shadows and the light can vary for different shapes. So that's two important tips that I'm sure will help you guys as you go, and just give it 5 to 10 minutes every day. Alright, now so let's start sketching the eyes. I used to draw eyes like this initially when I started. I know, cringy, but what you have to do is just practice with the circular shape and some almonds, or you can make some C shapes, inverted C's like brackets. Alright, so I'll show you guys how I do it almost a couple of years back, but it's still good for beginners. So you have to start with an almond shape, two C's and a circle inside the shape. Okay, once that is done, you can see that a little bit of the portion is left outside the almond shape. So I'm going to darken up the area that's left inside, and the one that's left outside will help me make the stencil for the eyelid. Now I'm going to refine the eye shape and add some base layers as I go. Okay, so I'm adding the pupil, the highlight area and the base shade. Once that is done, I'm going to take my blending stump and I'm going to blend that in. So this is your base shade that's done. Alright, once that is done, it looks like this. We can go ahead and we can add more layers of shade. Just darken up the pupil, add some more shadow, some more depth. And I'm going to refine the shape again, darken it up a little bit more. Working on the inner corners of the eyes. And I'm darkening the pupil again. I'm erasing what's not necessary now, and I'm refining the eyelid shape. I'm going to blend it out so it softens up the area and makes it more skin-like. I'm blending out the lower lash line as well and adding some more depth and shadow on the upper eyelash area. With what's left on the blending stump, whatever graphite is left from the pencil, I'm going to use that and adding some shadow around the eyes to make it appear like the skin. Once that is done, I'm going to keep blending it a little bit more. Now I'm adding some more darkness to the upper eyelashes, the pupil, and also defining the highlighted area, and this helps in bringing in the realistic touch a little bit more. I'm going to extend that to the inner corner of the eyes and also to the outer corners. And once that is done, I'm going to define a little bit on the skin and also make the waterline. Now I'm going to take my blending stump again and blend. As you can see, it's coming together. Now I'm going to just make sure that the eyelashes are in place. Now the eyelashes, it's like a softened tick mark. To help with the lashes, I'm going to make this small chain like small structure along the upper lash line and extend the lashes outwards, just like this. There we go. I'm going to add some smaller fragile lashes, some wispier lashes, to just balance it out a little bit. You have to make it go outwards. Now that is done, we're going to work on the lower lash line and make the little small eyelashes over there as well. These are very tiny and very sparse. One thing is that the lashes will change as per the individual. It can be dense, it can be sparse, so keep that in mind too. When we're talking about natural eyelashes, these are in moderation, but if there's makeup or false eyelashes and stuff, then the eyelashes will obviously look denser. So you have to keep that in mind. Now once we're done with this, I'm just going to add some small details as well. You can try this at home. If you are a beginner, give this a try. It's always, there's more space for experimenting. So yeah, so I cleared out the area and it's time for some fleeky brows. I'm going in with a standard brow shape, and I'm going to just take in consideration whatever the eye shape is that I have. Now the eyebrows can change as well. It can be thick or thin or like sparse, so I'm just sticking with the standard brow shape, and I'm going to lay a base with the pencil itself and blend it in. I'm going to extend it a little bit towards the crease of the forehead, also working on the skin around the eyes. Now I'm going to make small hair like strokes, and this makes the eyebrows look a lot more realistic. I'm going to extend it towards the brow bone and crease of the eye, just like that. And I'm also going to do the same thing, but on the other half of the eyebrow, towards the upper side, towards the forehead side, and just darken it up a little bit more. Now I'm going to blend it in, not the entire way but lightly, and then I'm going to put in some more hair strokes, and it just does the work. I'm going to define the eyelid and the eyelashes again a little bit, that might have blended out in the process. Add in some veins if you want in the eyes, if that's what you would want. Some little details that help define the eyes, and we're done. That's it. If you want to work on the eye expressions, then you can also experiment with that. Here I'm doing a shocking or surprised expression, so make sure that you show the entire iris of the eye. That helps it be like a little bit more surprised expression. You can try this. Also, if you're trying to work with eyes that are looking in a specific direction, then you have to make sure that the the entire pupil and the iris, the entire thing is looking in that particular direction, and shade accordingly. So that's how you can experiment as well. I will be trying to put up a video on this as well to help you guys with the angles of the eyes. So that's about it. Don't forget the brow shape. There's 3 different directions for the brows going around in here, and also the lashes that go outside outwards the eye, so keep that in mind. Next up is sketching the nose. Here we'll need the circles as well. I'll show you how I make it directly. I just make a circle, I decide the length of the nose that I'll need, and I'll just directly go like this. I'll just shade in a little bit here and there, just where I need. But now it's time to do it properly. So let's start with a circle, make a triangle, and divide it into 4 equal halves. Okay. Now place the 2 circles slightly raised on both sides of the main circle. Now start making the structure of a nose, and add the nostrils and the sides of the nose, the tip of the nose. I'm going to draw a standard nose, so this length of the nose will be just fine, and I'll draw the cupid's region and some area for shadow under the nose. And yeah, so if you're making it more animated, you can just draw a circle and a triangle and just do the nostrils and it'll be done. If you're making the character more animated and not realistic. Next up, for the highlighted area, we're going to make an exclamation mark. Keep the dark and the lightness in your head, and let's just start adding the shades. So like I told you before, for the circles, to practice with the light and dark, similar way, once you have the exclamation mark, you start laying the base shades. Once that is done, I'm going to take my blending stump and I'm going to blend in all of these shades. Using my fingers, I'm going to soften it a little bit. Darkening up below the nose, around the edges of the sides of the nose. This is where the main darkness would be. I'm going to clean up those highlighted area where I made the exclamation mark, and I'm going to soften it out a little bit more. So this is where mainly the highlights would be. Using my fingers, I'm going to soften it. I'm going to add more shades toward the sides of the nose, also under the bridge of the nose. Near the nostrils, and once we are done with that, we'll start blending in again. Now the sides of the nose won't be as much highlighted as the bridge, that is the tip of the nose, would be. So I'm going to add the shades over there and underneath the nose as well, where the shadow would be near the nostrils. I'm going to erase the highlight area and also just soften as I go, so it's not as strikingly raised or highlighted. Just underneath the tip of the nose. I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to darken up the nostrils to add more dimension and depth. I'm going to sharpen up the nose areas as well, the sides of the nose, while also darkening up the under areas of the nose, underneath the nose. If you don't have a blending stump, you can use an earbud or a tissue. It works just fine. These blending stumps are made out of rice paper, so you can shape them as you wish as well. If you need to sharpen them, you can use a blade and you sharpen the um, blending stump. So this is basically how we do it. We draw a circle, two circles alongside, and we give the shape. Now there are different types of nose shapes as well, so using this technique is a lot more easier to determine which shape you want to go for. The nose can differ from person to person, so using the circle, it helps a lot. Remember the exclamation mark and the highlighting areas. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to add some little bits of spots and details on the nose to make it more realistic. Even though it's not completely realistic, it's a good start for beginners to practice with. So if you want to practice portraits, definitely try these tricks. I'm going to blend out a little bit around the nose, towards the bridge of the nose, and that's it. We are almost done. And that's it. Last up is making the lips. As a teen, I used to draw like this directly, messing up so many times until I discovered, yep, the circle hack. And as I'm doing here for a 3 to 5 minute sketch or a rapid sketch, I used to do this kind of lips. So as you can see, it's quite easy. It's not that fussy. But how you do it? You add 2 circles, 1 big circle, join the ends and trace them out. I'll blend this out first. So once this is done, I left the highlighting area. I'm going to soften out the corners, and that's pretty much it. So let's do it in a better way. We'll start with a straight horizontal line and divide it into 2. Make 2 circles, smaller circles on the upper half, and a larger oval that's as same as the 2 circles on the lower half. Then you join both the sides. You make a small dent in the middle, and now you have to trace them. Go along the shapes of the basic structure that you've made, but make sure the curves are a little bit softer. Don't make them too harsh or straight lines. Try to go in softer curves. Then you keep them joining. Make room for the highlight. And then we can start with the base shading. So I'm going to take my Faber-Castell pencil. I'm erasing out those circles, so I don't need them actually. Also fixing where I might have messed up. And then I'm going to lay the base shade. Using my blending stump, I'm going to blend it all out. Soften the outline as well as you go blending to make it seem more realistic. With what's left on the blending stump itself, I'm going to make a small cupid's bow. and add some shade for the chin area. Now I'm going to start refining the shape of the lips. And add some more depth with some more shade. Focus on the middle or the horizontal layer, the line we had created for the lips parting. I'm going to blend it all in with my blending stump. Also focusing on the skin around the lips. Now it's time to add the highlight. I'm going to do that by erasing the area that we had marked for highlight. Doing this gives the lips a more plumper and natural look. I'm also going to blend it out lightly so as to not make it look very sharp or out of the place. Just going to add some shades here and there. I'm going to erase out faintly across the entire lip shape, because if you see, that's how the lighting is around the skin. It's quite faint, not very striking, but it's there. Now when you have to draw something in an angle, remember that it's not going to stay the same. The shape of the lip will change slightly when you have a different angle going on. So one side of the lip in this case is not clearly visible, only the tip of it is visible, and the rest of it can be seen. So I'll make sure to add another video in the future about this to show you different angles of making eyes, nose and lips. If you have to make different expressions with lips, so here I'm making a lip which is slightly open using the same circle technique. I'm going to darken in the area inside the lips, erasing out the circles, and I'm going to trace out the lips properly. Once that is done, I'm going to show you another one, because this one is this technique works very nicely because the lips can differ from people to people as well, from person to person, and the lip shape will also vary. So using this technique you can easily determine what kind of lip shape you want to go with. Some may have more plumper lips, some may have a little more flatter lips. So keeping that in mind, give this a try, and don't forget about the highlights. And yeah, that's it for the lips. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys find this helpful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Take care everyone.